Here, Ahsin Jamil, hopefully the next Mayor of Doncaster, my brothers and sisters, distinguished elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm here as a resident of Scotland to reclaim the city of Doncaster. You don't know, but in the 12th century, a treaty, the Treaty of Durham, granted the city of Doncaster to Scotland. So I'm here to conduct a plebiscite to ascertain whether you would like to return to your motherland, your motherland of Scotland. And I drove all the way from Scotland this morning to announce that our claim is not dead, our claim is alive. I'm keen to talk about three things, if you'll forgive me. They are quite distinct, but they are important and will stand in the videos on their own, as well as a part of the whole of this meeting. I want to begin, as my sister Shanaz alluded, to the truly alarming situation which has arisen apparently almost overnight between India and Pakistan. Let me say, as I did in writing an hour or two ago, it's already viral, that notwithstanding my profound disagreements with the government of Pakistan and with the military leadership in Pakistan, I stand with Pakistan in this conflict which India seems determined to launch. Indeed, have already begun to launch. If you cut off the flow of the Indus River, on which 80% of Pakistan's water depends, you have committed an act of war against your neighbour, and one which has already so been described by the government of Pakistan. Now, if someone commits an act of war straight out of the Israeli playbook, cutting off the water to the people who you think are under your control, then you are yourselves inciting an international crisis which could very well lead to war between two nuclear-armed states, one of whom has 170 nuclear weapons, and the other has 172 nuclear weapons, enough to destroy both countries many times over, spread a nuclear winter across all of South Asia, and risk the intercession of the nuclear superpowers, bringing about potentially the end of life on Earth. It doesn't get much more serious than that. And it's no surprise to me that this crisis developed immediately in the wake of the visit of the United States Vice President J.D. Vance to Prime Minister Modi, and comes at a very opportune time when the President of the United States is turning the world upside down, threatening even his own friends, Denmark, with taking their territory in Greenland, Panama, with taking their canal, Gaza, with taking ownership of internationally recognized occupied territory, and of course, threatening China with, I've lost count of the percentages, but the last time I saw he was placing 145% tariffs on goods and services coming from China. This crisis suits them. It suits the illegitimate child of the United States, to which I shall turn in a minute, the apartheid state of Israel. It's a monumental distraction from what Netanyahu may have in mind in the Persian Gulf in the next hours or days. But I did say apparently this crisis developed overnight. But it's only apparent. I personally do not believe that forces of the Pakistan military crossed 100 miles of the most densely militarized territory on the earth, where there's an Indian soldier for every 7 people in the population, and carried out the crime, and it was a crime of killing innocent civilian people in Kashmir. But whoever did it, and for what other or ever purpose, the truth is that this crisis is embedded in the injustice, which is now well over 70 years old, that was imposed on the people of Jammu and Kashmir by the British Empire at partition, which left marooned in no man's land a population which never wanted to be part of India, but which is occupied by India, with immense military power and immense repression. The parallels between Gaza and Kashmir are extreme. The way that the occupation acts in Kashmir is exactly the way that the occupation acts in Palestine, in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in East Jerusalem. Exactly the same military tactics, exactly the same now transfer of population, exactly the same kind of settlements of foreign people from outside the area coming in, taking land, and trying to change the demography of occupied Kashmir. And so it's for those reasons that I say, until the just demands of the Kashmiri people to self-determination, to decide for themselves by plebiscite where and with whom they wish to live, that this issue of Kashmir will always be a potential source of war and conflict, and because of the nuclear facts of life, a real and present danger to the future of humanity itself. So I stand with Pakistan, not because I like the government of Pakistan, I don't. I stand with Pakistan, not because I love the generals, I don't, for reasons I don't need to go into here. But I do stand with the people of Pakistan against the threat of war, and I will always stand with the people of Kashmir as they fight for their freedom and their liberty. The second issue I'd like to turn to is the issue in Gaza itself. There were those who thought, with the so-called ceasefire, which was never a ceasefire, that the issue of Gaza was going to fade. Labour very much hoped that it was going to fade because they lost millions of votes at the general election from people who care about the children in Gaza, who care about the women in Gaza, who care about the scores of thousands of people who've been killed and the hundreds of thousands of people who've been wounded and the millions of people who have been left homeless, living in the rubble of their own houses or in tents, both of which continue to be bombed into pieces, literally into pieces. Yesterday, a girl was hit by a bomb and cut in half. In half. You're lucky if you haven't seen the pictures. You're lucky if you haven't seen the video. She was blown out of her own house into the air and landed on the roof in two parts of the house next door. And her 3-year-old brother is the only survivor. The mother, the father, 5 siblings, including the girl who was blown in half. People living in tents are being set on fire in a $20 tent with a 2,000-pound bomb tipped with incendiary material, burning alive whole families. I met a man at the weekend in Cambridge who lost 32 members of his family in the same bomb in Gaza. He had 40 relatives, now he has 8, and they are running from pillar to post, trying to keep ahead of this relentless daily, hourly bombardment. Now, why did I mention Labour? Because Labour supports this. Labour openly, from its leader, Keir Starmer, through their cabinet, in the Foreign Office, in the Department of Defence. They are a part of this crime. And so I'm going to say to you, whoever you vote for, and I hope that it's our man, Ahsin Jamil, but whoever people vote for, if you vote for Labour, I believe you will never be forgiven for it. How could you reward a party that is up to its armpits in the blood of the people of Gaza? Don't forget the people of Palestine. They don't have a vote a week on Thursday, next Thursday. They don't have a vote. They don't have a voice. Nobody even publishes the pictures of their children cut in half. But you have got a voice. You've got a vote. And I hope that you'll do the right thing with it.